Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. And here are some photos you sent into our eyewitness portal. So we begin with this photo sent in from Barnawa area in Kaduna State. It shows these electricity poles, which were erected in the middle of the road. Our eyewitness reporter says he's calling on the authorities and the town planning authorities to relocate these poles. And staying in Kaduna State, our next photo was sent in from Zaria. It shows a man riding a motorcycle overloaded with a bag of potatoes. Our eyewitness reporter describes this act as quite dangerous to other road users. And this photo shows a blocked drainage along this road in Abacha area in Enugu State. Our eyewitness reporter calls on state authorities to clear it. I'll move on to Lagos State, where our eyewitness reporter sent in this photo showing a commercial motorcycle carrying what appears to be burglar-proof. Our eyewitness reporter describes this as quite unsafe. And finally is this photo sent in from Katsina. It shows motorists and individuals queuing up to buy fuel. Our eyewitness reporter calls on the federal government to resolve cases of fuel scarcity. We do appreciate and thank you so much indeed for sending in those pictures, as we ask that you keep them coming. Well, moving on to other stories now. Commendations have been pouring in for the Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Akinwumi Ambode, and the Commissioner of Police, Fatai Owoseni, over the rescue of the 3 girls abducted from Babington Macaulay Junior Seminary. Archbishop Nicholas Oko, who led the delegation from the Anglican Church, praised the promptness of the rescue of the abducted schoolgirls. In his reaction, the Commissioner of Police says that the visit is a morale booster, which will encourage the police to do more.
It's a thank you visit for what the police has done under the leadership of the governor of the state. We believe that they've performed exceptionally well. Of course, I was very, very devastated. Number one, young women out in the cold, day and night. So we couldn't sleep. It didn't allow us to sleep. So when we got the news that they've been rescued, we bounced back. We raised the standard of security physical structures. We also employ more security people and seek to work more closely with the police and other security agencies.
It's like a morale booster to us and to other policemen who would see that Nigerians do appreciate good work. It's a lesson learned. We'll look at all the schools. We'll look at, we go into enlightenment of our people and see how everyone can meet the minimum operating security standard in schools and in our homes. It's a work in progress.
You're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television live from Lagos. Let's now switch gears and take you to our Abuja studio, where Linda Akiwe is standing by to take us through the latest stories from your end. Linda.
Hello, Gimba. Thank you for joining us and welcome to Abuja. The federal government has welcomed the Swiss government's decision to return funds stolen from Nigeria under the Sani Abacha government. Swiss authorities are also developing a framework that would aid the repatriation of stolen assets stashed abroad. Vice President Professor Yemi Oshibajo said this today at the presidential villa in Abuja during a meeting with a Swiss delegation led by the country's federal consular and head of its foreign affairs department, Mr. Didier Bockholter. Professor Oshibajo explained that the framework, which will be made available to members of the public, would cover the whole spectrum from the source of the stolen assets to how it will be managed once recovered. At least 15 persons have died after a 5-story building collapsed at the early hours of today at the Lekki area of Lagos State. The building, which was under construction is part of a residential building project springing up around that vicinity. Not less than 11 persons have been rescued and taken to the mainland General Hospital as search and rescue operations continue at the site. Our correspondent Olu Phillips reports.
It's not an event anyone wants to see happen, and definitely not considering the casualty rate coming from this work site. The aggregate of information reaching us around this scenario is that at the Riaz, a 5-story building under construction came crashing down.
This incident happened around 4:10 this morning, and immediately we rolled out for operation. And you know the traffic before we could get here. However, the first team of rescue workers got there around 6 o'clock. And since then, work has been going on. You know, it's based on, for instance, when you have people who are trapped alive, you have to you witness how the operation was going on. And you can see how we have been very, very careful. To get one person alive, you have to take all necessary precautions. So we cannot say the rescue operation is late.
No one can say for sure how many more persons are beneath this rubble, most of whom we understand are workers and squatters who passed the night in the once 5-story building. Rescue work is progressing. What perhaps is gratifying is to see somebody under the debris still alive and calling for help. Seconds grew to minutes, minutes grew to hours, and the die-hard man hangs in there as rescue workers drill and cut their way through. After several tiring hours of frantic efforts, he is finally pulled out to the admiration and applause of the cheering crowd. He even responds by raising his hands in opposition to God and those on site. Without preempting the outcome of investigations, it is clear that nothing could have gone wrong if nothing went wrong somewhere along the line.
Number one, here all this way na water. So number two, the key way they use for the materials, it not be correct materials.
If there's no defect, there won't be a collapse. However, the relevant agencies will come in and do the necessary investigation and confirm the real cause.
If this 5-story building didn't collapse, this is what it would have looked like. But that didn't happen, and it's quite unfortunate. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
The federal government has filed a fresh 1-count charge of non-declaration of assets against the former Minister for Niger Delta Ministry, Mr. Godsday Orubebe. Earlier today, the Director of Public Prosecution, Mr. Mohammed Diri, withdrew an initial 2-count charge on bribe worth about 70 million naira. Mr. Diri did not give any reason for the withdrawal of the initial charge. However, no objection was made to the new charge by counsel to Mr. Orubebe. When the charge was read to him, the former minister entered a not guilty plea. Trial has now been fixed for the 4th of April 2016. Meanwhile, hearing...
You know, they have dropped the last charges that were filed in October against me, the 2 charges. They have dropped them now. They were struck out. And today they have brought a new charge, a single new charge. And I want to thank God for seeing me through to this time. And I also believe that the God that did the other one will also do this one.
3 of the counts in the previous charge were dropped, and they came up with an amended charge containing only 1 charge. And we are ready for them any day they say they are ready. Time will tell whether this 1 charge that is subsisting has substance. Time will tell.
Meanwhile, hearing of a suit on the dispute over the management of an excess crude account between the 36 states of the Federation and the federal government has again been stalled. This follows an application by the lawyer to the federal government seeking an amicable resolution to the matter, otherwise known as the Sovereign Wealth Fund. At the resumed hearing of the suit, lawyer to the federal government, Mr. Abdul Maliki, told the court that there were strong moves between the parties to resolve the dispute outside the court. Lawyer to the Attorney General of Bauchi State, Mr. Yusuf Ali, who confirmed the plans for amicable settlement, however, prayed the court to give an early date for the parties to report back to the court. Having listened to both parties, the 7-man panel of the Apex Court, led by Justice Tanko Mohammed, adjourned the suit to the 18th of October for reports of settlement or hearing. And that's all we have for you from the capital city. Back to you, Gimba.
Brilliant. Many thanks indeed. And when the News at 10 returns, Deputy Governor of Lagos State makes case for gender equality at a forum by the Nigerian Stock Exchange. That's on Business News. Join us again.